The folder security function is only available to an administrator. By default, any user or editor that is given access to the root folder, which is called a document source, automatically has access to all the associated subfolders. This is defined outside of DocumentViewer by assigning users in Geoportal User Access Manager to groups. The groups are granted access to specific document sources through the Geoportal security system. The Manage Folder Security function enables an administrator to refine user access to the root and any subfolders. This means that an administrator can go to any part of the folder hierarchy and change access privileges and roles for any users at that level of the hierarchy and its subfolders. We will now look at an example of using the folder security function. When the folder security function is invoked, the following form will appear, allowing the administrator to set different access controls. The form is divided into two parts. The first part has global operators for allowing or denying access for all users. The second part lists the users and the role they have. Let's go through each item in more detail. Firstly, all settings activated will apply to the current active folder, and all subfolders if apply to subfolders is checked on. Secondly, there is the Allow All and Deny All buttons. The Allow All will provide all users listed access to the folder and its subfolders if the Apply to Subfolders is checked on. Activating this function will set the Access radio button next to each user's name to Allow. If new users are added through Geoportal User Access Manager, this folder security setting will automatically apply to their access. The Deny All button will deny access to this folder for all users and its subfolders if Apply to Subfolders is checked on. Activating this function will set the Access radio button next to each user's name to deny. If new users are added through Geoportal User Access Manager, this folder security setting will automatically apply to their access. By default, all users have access with their default role. The administrator can deny access for specific users and can also change their default role at a subfolder level. If the Apply to Subfolders is checked on, then access and role will apply to the subfolders as well. Next is the username column. This area provides a list of all users that have access to this folder based on the root folder settings as defined in Geoportal User Access Manager. Making a user or editor into an admin will grant the user the same privileges as the full document viewer administrator at that folder and its subfolders if Apply to Subfolders is checked on. Caution should be exercised when doing this, as an admin can change global settings and can control folder security. Now let's take a look at DocumentViewer to see how this is displayed in the folder hierarchy. Settings can be changed at different levels of the folder hierarchy. For example, the user can have access to the root as a user, but be denied access to the first subfolder, and then granted access to the third level subfolder as an editor. This is how administrators control whether users can see content and whether they can change the content at any level of the hierarchy. Once folder security is set, a padlock icon will appear to the right of the folder name in the document viewer left frame to denote folder security has been set at that level of the folder hierarchy. You can also launch the form from the folder menu in the toolbar. Only administrators will see the padlock icon and have access to this function. As a reminder, if a user is denied access to a folder, the folder will be visible but greyed out in the document viewer left frame when that user accessed document viewer. When a user is denied access, they will not be shown any contents in that folder or be able to use the download folder tool for the folder. Email notifications will not be received. As an administrator, you can delete the folder security settings at any level to revert the user privileges back to the default state as defined in the Geoportal User Access Manager. Unless there are other folder security settings that apply further up the hierarchy, especially if Apply to Subfolders has been checked on. If you would like to evaluate folder access based on a specific user, utilize the User Access function in the Folder Security form. Click on the hyperlinked username to bring up the following subform. In this subform, the administrator can then navigate through the folder hierarchy and see where the selected user has access, and where they are denied access, which are shown in grey text.